What's up, boxing fans? This is TBE Boxing, back at you again. All right, so Gary Russell has been making a lot of noise out there lately, and he had called out uh, several people actually. I mean, he called out Tank, he called out uh, Devin Haney. He said that he would move up to 130 and fight Bachelt. Then he also said he would move up to 147 and fight Terence Crawford. I mean, that's not going to happen, but, Gary Russell, made some cloud chasing moves and called out Terence Crawford, claimed that he wants to fight Terence Crawford at 147 pounds. I mean, I don't really believe that he wants to fight Terence Crawford. I believe it's a cloud chasing move. I think he's trying to raise his profile. He hasn't fought that much in 5 years since he had a title at 126 pounds. I think that his career is coming to a close and that he needs to make some big money fights, to make up for all the fights that he missed in the past 5 years. Because in the past 5 years, Gary Russell has had 5 fights. That's one fight per year. So basically, he's not fighting much. And if you're not fighting much, you're not making much money. So in trying to raise his profile, Gary Russell, made up some story about him breaking Terence Crawford's jaw and blah blah blah, and so he claimed that he had a personal beef with Terence Crawford, and that he would fight Terence Crawford for $1.5 million, which is what supposedly Book. Carol Book, the special one, was offered to fight Terence Crawford at 147 pounds. Now, we don't know what the actual offer was, but from what we're hearing, it's about 1.5 million they offered Book, or that's what Top Rank offered Book. I know if it was up to Terence Crawford, he'd probably offer more, but Top Rank is who's controlling the money, and so they offered 1.5 to fight Terence Crawford. Now, we already know that Top Rank is a bunch of cheapskates. They don't really offer much for any fights at all, no matter who you're fighting. So it wasn't surprising that they would offer Book a 1.5 million, especially in these times, in pandemic times. But I mean, from what we're hearing, Book refused the offer. Now, enter Gary Russell. Gary Russell, when Terence Crawford, I guess once Book refused the offer, Terence Crawford, in his, in another cloud chase move, claimed that he would take the offer of 1.5 million to fight Terence Crawford. Okay, but he also said that he would take 1.5 million to fight 1.2, I think, million, whatever it was. The offer was from Lomachenko to fight Teofimo. He claimed that he would take that offer too. He said he would fight either Teofimo or Lomachenko for that 1.2 or 1.5 million dollar offer. Okay, so as you know, Gary Russell has been calling out a lot of people for the past few months. Let's say, he called out everybody basically at 130 and 135, and even up to 147. But I mean, Gary Russell hasn't really made any moves towards the people he's been calling out. Like, I mean, if you're going to call out somebody at 135 pounds, then you need to move up to 135 pounds and challenge them, or, but he hasn't done anything like that. So I'm not sure. Well, I am sure. I think these call outs are just, I think they're fake. I think the only person that Gary Russell really wants to fight, I believe, is Leo Santa Cruz. That's it. I don't think he wants to fight anybody else. Okay, I think he wants to make a big money fight with Santa Cruz and then maybe retire at this point in his career. Because I don't know where is Gary Russell's career going from where he is right now? I mean, it's not that from the move that Gary Russell is making, it's not clear where his career is going to go from here. Okay, I mean, he hasn't been much of a career. He hasn't fought much in the last 5 years. Okay, and prior to that, he lost to Lomachenko. That was his big claim to fame. So we're not really sure where this career is going at this point. He claims he wants to challenge Lomachenko at the end of his career, but I mean, I don't see any moves towards that either. So, I mean, if it was up to me, I would tell Gary Russell to just go to 130 pounds, like the brother Bernard said to him, his friend, and Bernard, family friend, said to him, move to 130 pounds, challenge Burchell for his title. If you get that title 130 pounds, you can make a couple of fights up there. You got Diaz up there. You even got Santa Cruz up there at 130. You got Shakur Stevenson there. And, I think you got also Jamal Herring there. It's another title at 130 pounds. So there's many fights at 130 for him to make if he wants to jump up to 130. The prime one being challenging Burchell. And then from there you can challenge. If he's successful, then he can move up and take on someone at lightweight. Now, if Russell is gonna jump from our featherweight to lightweight, I mean, and fight someone, I wouldn't recommend that he fight Devin Haney. I mean, as far as I can see, I don't think that fight is gonna go any much better for Gary Russell than if he had fought Terence Crawford at 147. He's gonna go just as bad for him, I think, at 135 fighting Devin Haney. It's almost the same as fighting Crawford at 147. So I don't really see I don't see that's going to be a good fight for Gary Russell. He's going to get whooped at 135 by Devin Haney. I think Devin Haney beats him at 135. Okay. And I think that, that's not a good move for him. I think he should just go to Burchell, challenge Burchell. I don't think Gary Russell needs to go any further than 130. Or maybe he could move to 135 and fight a couple of fighters there. That's, but that's about it. I don't think he can go any further than that. And going up there and challenging Haney at 135 is almost like Mikey Garcia going up to 147 and challenging Spence. It's going to be the same dynamics. I think that, with the skills that our boy there at lightweight, Devin Haney, have, I don't really think that Gary Russell is going to be much of a challenge for him. I think that he's taller than Gary. He got longer reach. He's just as quick, or almost as quick as Gary is. I think he got the good boxing fundamentals. As a matter of fact, I think his fundamentals are probably better than Gary. I think he got better defense. Okay. He punched pretty tough, hard for a lightweight. The hardest lightweight puncher, but, I think those lightweight punches hitting Gary Russell, who's a natural featherweight, is going to be pretty strong punches. So I think that Gary Russell just needs to forget about that. So we see that Gary Russell basically, I think Gary Russell realized what's going on as well, because he instead of accepting the fight for 1.5 million, he said, "Oh no, I," in a very shaky voice, by the way he was talking. He said, "Oh no, it was personal for me for me and Terence Crawford, but it's business for me and you, Shorty. It's business, so I gotta ask for 2 million." So I mean, I get it. Haney called his bluff, and now he's raising his price to 2 million. Okay, I mean, I don't blame him for raising his price to 2 million, really, because he's gonna get an ass whooping, and he's gonna need that $2 million, because I think he's gonna lose his title. I mean, not that Haney's gonna defend that title. He might not even fight for his title. I don't know how the fight is gonna be structured, but I'm thinking that he's gonna take a good whooping at 135 against Haney. I think. I'm thinking that Haney will win the fight. If I was to bet, I would bet on Haney. I think Gary Russell has some skills, good skills, but his lack of experience, he hasn't really fought anybody. I mean, he fought Tungsten Nyambar, and he fought, which was good. That's a pretty good fighter. He also fought Jojo Diaz, which was another good fight. So. This is after he lost to Lomachenko. So winning against Tungsten Nyambar and Jojo Diaz, it's good experience winning against those guys because those guys are pretty good fighters. But that's only 2 fights in the last 5 years. 2 real fights. So I'm not sure that Gary Russell has had, you know, the kind of experience to where you think that a guy like Devin Haney, who's new, young guy, just coming. But Devin Haney has had more fights in his time, in his career, in his very short career, than almost than Gary Russell. I mean, Devin Haney has fought more time in the past 2 years than Gary has fought in the past 5 or 6 or 7 years. Okay, so Devin Haney, he's ready to. He's a fighter. He fights as much as he can. He's constantly getting experience, and now he's trying to move up and challenge some of the bigger guys or some of the more experienced guys. Guys like Gary Russell or whoever else, would want to accept him. He basically challenged everybody. Gary Russell, claimed that people are ducking him, but again, Gary Russell, has been making very bad career moves, hasn't been really doing what he needs to be doing, and so he is where he is. 5 years, the longest reigning champion, only had 5 fights in 5 years, and hasn't really done much at 126 pounds. Okay, I mean, basically, Gary Russell's only claim to fame is losing to Lomachenko. That's it, basically. I mean, there's nothing else to really say. To really say that put him on the map. That's the only thing that put him on the map. He lost to Lomachenko, so that's where Gary is. So right now, Devin Haney called his bluff. So we're gonna see, what is it that Gary Russell gonna do. Now, like I said, I don't really blame him for asking for $2 million because I think he don't realize that his mouth of written a check that his ass can't cash. Okay, so now he's stuck. You know what I mean? So. So naturally he got to up the ante now and say, oh, well, no, I don't really want to fight you for 1.4. I want to fight you for $2 million. Okay, so let's see what happens if Haney decides, okay, we're going to give you the $2 million and see what's going to happen. See if Gary's going to accept the fight. I don't know. He might accept it. I mean, again, I'm thinking that he should go there a different route. Listen to what Bernard Hackett said. Go a different route. Fight Bechelt and move yourself up gradually. You're still, not that old still. You're still relatively young, 30-something years old or whatever. You can take 2-3 years and move your career in the right direction. Go up there, fight Bechelt, then fight some other champions up at that weight, then move up to lightweight. Do it gradually. Forget about, all this nonsense that you're trying to pull, talking about you want to fight Terence Crawford at 147, you want to fight a Tank at 135, you want to, but you're still at 126 and you haven't moved up. So Gary Russell, his bluff has been called by Devin Haney. Now, he claims he wants $2 million. So let's see what's going to happen. Is this fight going to happen, or did Gary Russell basically duck his way out of it? This is TBE. I'm going to leave it at that. See you on the next one. Out.